In the high-stakes theater of professional combat sports, we tune in to witness the impossible, right? We watch aging legends defy the clock, we watch broken empires rebuild their foundations, and we pray for a final cinematic comeback that will somehow erase years of heartbreak. But the octagon is a cold, indifferent cage. Just 3 nights ago, under the blinding lights of the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, the world watched with held breath as the sport's most magnetic global icon, Conor McGregor, stepped back into the UFC after a grueling 5-year layoff. It was supposed to be this legendary night of closure, a 13-year-old rivalry against Max Holloway settled once and for all. Instead, it became a total tragedy.
Just 69 seconds into the opening frame, before a single clean punch could even be traded, Conor's right knee just gave way. It ended the fight instantly, leaving 20,000 fans in stunned, silent disbelief. The dream of a triumphant return didn't just fade, it absolutely shattered on impact.
Okay, let's dive into this explainer. Because right now, with a severe medical suspension looming and retirement rumors absolutely swirling, the sporting world is forced to ask a painful, inevitable question. Is this officially the final, heartbreaking chapter of Conor McGregor's legendary career?
Part 1. The 69-second tragedy.
Let's trace the absolute microscopic anatomy of how this disaster actually occurred. The bell rang, and McGregor, sporting a fresh mohawk and looking exceptionally light on his feet, flew across the canvas. Intending to set an immediate, aggressive tempo, he launched a flying left roundhouse kick. Holloway easily navigated the range and slipped back. But as McGregor's right foot thudded onto the canvas to absorb his body weight, his knee buckled violently. To the untrained eye, it kind of just looked like a minor slip. But to anyone who actually understands knee mechanics, that sudden internal rotation of the joint signaled a catastrophic ligament failure. Conor, driven by pure instinct, attempted to throw 2 more strikes, but his leg entirely refused to support him. He slipped to the canvas, prompting referee Mike Beltran to look really closely at his posture. After a brief exchange, as McGregor took an unsure, incredibly painful step backward, the fight was officially waved off. Just like that, the most expensive fight card of the year ended in a technical knockout, a tragic anticlimax 13 years in the making.
Part 2. Anatomy of the injury.
Let's break down the exact biomechanical failure of the knee here because it perfectly illustrates the risks of striking predominant martial arts. Step 1. McGregor launches his jumping left roundhouse kick. Step 2. He lands awkwardly, totally fixing his right foot flat on the canvas. Now, Step 3 is the critical moment. That planted leg suddenly absorbs both his downward body weight and the immense rotational torque of the kick itself. And finally, Step 4. The knee structure simply cannot handle the load, buckling inward violently. It is literally like watching a foundational support column collapse under pressure.
Immediately following the bout, UFC CEO Dana White and the ringside doctors assumed a blown ACL. The anterior cruciate ligament is essentially this rope-like ligament deep inside your knee that stops your shin bone from sliding forward. It classically fails exactly how we just mapped out, when the foot stays firmly fixed and the knee rotates above it. So why does this matter? Well, for athletes who need to plant and pivot under extreme force, having an intact ACL is non-negotiable. Without it, structural stability just completely vanishes.
Naturally, the internet almost immediately flooded with conspiracy theories claiming McGregor walked into the cage already injured. But let's just neutrally look at the facts refuting these claims. Both McGregor's team and the UFC confirmed there were absolutely 0 warning signs. McGregor vehemently denies any pre-existing injury, insisting the blowout was just a random freak accident. His head coach, John Kavanagh, stated that they drilled that exact opening kick daily during camp. McGregor even noted he was actively throwing planted and jumping kicks backstage right before the fight. And Dana White confirmed there were no visible signs of injury at the weigh-ins or medical checks. All the evidence points to this being a completely devastating, totally unforeseen accident.
Part 3. Medical and operational fallout.
The physical reality of this situation is unforgiving. It is defined by this cold, hard number, 180. The Nevada State Athletic Commission's automatic 180-day medical suspension.
Under these incredibly strict regulatory safety protocols, McGregor is legally barred from any contact training until a doctor officially clears his reconstructed right knee. He requires comprehensive surgical clearance and extensive physical therapy before he is permitted to even step foot in a training facility.
But beyond the clinical medical data, the immediate aftermath of the injury was defined by pure, raw emotion. McGregor left the cage immediately, completely refusing to stay for a post-fight interview, and was seen leaving the arena on foot. Hours later, he took to social media to express his utter devastation, literally writing, "My head gasket is gone, destroyed."
So, the crucial point we need to understand is the immense psychological toll this sudden freak accident has taken on the 37-year-old fighter. He followed up by saying, "This came out of nowhere. I am beyond dark here. I can only describe it as hell." Just take a moment to absorb the steep, physical hill McGregor has been climbing over his last decade of fighting. In 2013, he suffered an ACL tear in his left knee. In 2021, that horrific fractured tibia in his left leg. And now, in 2026, a suspected ACL tear in his right knee. The physical foundation that supports his famously explosive fighting style has just been relentlessly chipped away at over the years.
Part 4. Holloway's class and composure.
Now, what's really interesting here is that while the world mourns the tragic end to McGregor's night, we absolutely cannot overlook the phenomenal, composed triumph of Max Holloway. By securing his 28th professional victory, the Hawaiian star has successfully closed a 13-year chapter of his career. Notice the stark contrast between the two athletes in those chaotic final seconds. On one side, you have McGregor acting on pure instinct to survive, frantically attempting to throw more strikes and fight on one leg. But on the other side, Holloway stayed perfectly composed. He instantly identified McGregor's injury, maintained a safe distance, and actually began urging the referee to step in and wave it off.
Holloway perfectly explained his remarkable restraint with this quote, "He brought his kids to the fight. Come on. I'm not trying to beat up a wounded dog." He showed immense class in securing this victory, outright refusing to inflict unnecessary punishment while McGregor's family watched from cageside.
Think about that level of sportsmanship. Holloway didn't even celebrate the victory. Instead, he immediately consoled McGregor in the cage. And when the restless crowd began loudly booing the anticlimactic finish, Holloway got right on the microphone and commanded the entire arena to give it up for McGregor. He brilliantly turned a hostile, angry environment into a genuine moment of respect for the injured former champion. He even noted he remains totally open to a trilogy fight down the line.
Part 5. The final chapter. So what does the future hold for McGregor's legacy? Well, he quickly took to Instagram to outline a very direct recovery plan. Step 1, surgery. Step 2, prehab. Step 3, return to martial arts practice. And finally, Step 4, compete in the final fight of his UFC contract. Make no mistake, he is confirming his absolute intention to step back into the cage, despite this grueling rehabilitation process.
But let's be real for a second and remember why this matters, and exactly what he's up against. Returning to peak athletic performance under these compounding physical variables is incredibly rare. McGregor is 37 years old. He was already coming off a massive 5-year layoff. He now faces another 6 to 12 months of reconstructive ACL recovery. And he has to do all of this just to complete his final UFC contract bout. It's a monumental task.
Which leaves us with this final, truly provocative thought. Will a 180-day medical suspension and reconstructive knee surgery at 37 years old be the final chapter of the most famous career in MMA history? Or can the sport's most magnetic icon actually rebuild his foundation one last time? I guess only time will tell. Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep questioning the facts, and I'll catch you on the next one.